Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Welcome to another episode of Art's Place with my co-host, Lloyd Mendenhall, the grumpy vlogger. Welcome, Lloyd.
How you doing, Art? I just realized all that time I was talking to you, I didn't have your sound turned on my side. So if you were talking to me, I couldn't. I saw the logo pop up, and I'm going, why can't I hear? Oh, I forgot to. Even veterans have problems remembering to push all them buttons.
Yep, that's right. All right, so how's everything going with you, sir?
It's going good. It's I don't know if you've noticed, I've done a little change up on my desk again, and so I threw this together last minute. Mel and I have been working on some things, and let me, as a matter of fact, let's do that. Let's turn that on. There we go. So my lights are blinking now.
There you go. That's good.
It's actually red, white, and blue, but this is the close-up shot, and so you're only seeing the red and white. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've been working on some stuff, and I had to go shopping, and Judy calls me, and she says, well, you need to hurry up and get home. And I hadn't even looked at the clock, because when I left the house, it's like 10:30. You know, how long can it take? I thought, I'm going while everybody else was in church. No, all the heathens was out with me. So
I see you got rid of your parrot that was sitting on your shoulder there.
Yeah, I got rid of my parrot, yeah. I'm not even sure what skyline this is. I think this might be Tulsa.
It looks like downtown Muskogee. Skyline, it looks like.
Is it?
Looks nice.
No.
Yeah.
No, because... No, this must be Oklahoma City, because that's the Capitol building right there.
Okay.
So...
I see.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this must be Oklahoma City, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember. It was one I had, and I got tired of the other one, so I thought, I like to change it up.
Well, I like that hawk. It looked good, but the way it was situated, you looked like a pirate with your parrot on your shoulder.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it should have been... That was another last-minute thing I threw together.
Right.
As I'm changing out sets and I'm adding new stuff, Mel and I are both doing some similar stuff.
Cool.
And we've been working together to get some stuff together. But I've run into some issues that we have to modify and change and whatever. So what happened the other night was I realized I was zoomed too far back. And so because some of the graphics I use were developed by somebody who is no longer participating, I've decided that I need to know how to do my own stuff, limit it to the stuff that Mel and I make together.
Right.
And that way we can support each other if something doesn't go right.
That's true.
You know. I don't have to worry about support from somebody else, but
well, you missed it yesterday.
Sonia and
on my other channel, I was getting ready to and I'm like, oh my God, everything is gone. I forgot to save it the last time I used it, and so I'm scrambling to get everything, and luckily I had enough time to get everything situated, and everything worked out great. So it was a great show, and Curtis was a great guest yesterday.
Yeah, I caught parts of it, and then I got a call I had to take, and because that friend of mine who had had the heart attack, I'd called and left a message with him, and he was calling me back. So, so that's what was going on there. But while we're on the subject of vMix and saving stuff,
right?
Do you not have a preset that's already loaded up?
Well, I do now.
Or do you redo this every week? Yeah. Oh, I did not. See, like this one here that I'm using, this is the one I used last week. That's why I was able to log into your number, because you keep the same number for me.
Right.
So I just fired up. If you're on, I'm in. And the only thing I have to change is I'm using a new desk, a new style.
Right.
And added the neon of me, and then the Grumpy Vlogger Show neon that is supposed to be flashing, but it's not, because I don't have it looped. So there we go. There we go. Now it'll flash on and off.
Well, last night I had to give Curtis a new number to call in, because I had to redo
the whole set.
Call-in number. So, so we got that all worked out. Now we've got a couple people in the chat. We've got Sonia and Jim Crennan and Narrowboat Mom Fiona. Welcome to the show. All right, we got people from the other side of the pond joining in. That is awesome.
Yes, we do.
Yes, this is vMix that we're using. So let's jump right in. Our first topic that we're going to talk about is, you know, that little girl that was doing the AOC parodies? You've probably seen them on Facebook.
I think I saw one, yeah.
Yeah, where she's got the big glasses and kind of talks like AOC. Well, she had to pull down her videos because she was getting death threats. Yeah, I mean, that is sad.
Is that... That's sad that that's what this world has come to.
I know.
Threatening kids.
She and her parents were on the different morning shows last week discussing what had happened, and what I did is I posted that on one of my friend's comedy vlogs or channels that he's got on Facebook, to see how the comedians would react to that kind of censorship. And very predictable. About 80% of them are liberal, and they all blame the little girl. Well, especially their parents. Well, her parents were exploiting her, and I'm like, you're missing the point. This is censorship through thuggery and intimidation. And you guys shouldn't be for that. I mean, you're comedians. The First Amendment is the number one thing that protects you.
Well, here's my question, and this is something that's puzzled me in the last few years especially. But when did comedians finally become politically correct?
Right.
They used to poke fun of everybody. They didn't care what their party was. You know, they made fun of, back in the days, probably half the people in the audience don't remember them, but you and I do. They made fun of Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
They made fun of
Nixon.
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon. It
Jimmy
didn't care
Carter,
what the party
Gerald
was.
Ford, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill Clinton. Oh my God, people impersonated him, and he was the biggest. You know, him in the blue dress made more jokes than anybody during the 90s. I mean, they, you know, but now all the comedians have suddenly got thin skin and become politically correct, and it's, you know, we've done it to ourselves. We're censoring ourselves now.
I think a lot of it has to do with social media and how our education system has been really taken over by the left, and now they're teaching kids that anybody that doesn't hold their values, there's something wrong with them or they're evil. And that's where a lot of this is coming from. Now you're getting younger comedians and they all think that way. And instead of funny jokes poking at the other side, there's just nothing but mean comments, to point out, he's stupid because he's a conservative.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that? And it's like, come on, be a little, be different. This is what comedy is supposed to be about, is humor.
Exactly.
And instead they just
humor.
Make up a joke. Punchline is he's stupid or he's racist, says it's whatever.
Yeah. I've been posting some stuff lately, and I put one up today or yesterday, and I said, if you guys don't like what I put up, feel free to unsubscribe, and follow me. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But I've been starting to put up some stuff. But I tell you, the funniest group that I've been hearing lately, and I started following them, they're called the Deplorable Choir. And oh my God, they are good. They're good singers. It's country, so it's not for everybody. But the way and they get in there and they talk about things that they on their they have sometimes a little 2-minute diatribe about the far left and the idiocy of those people. So here's what I picked up on. I can't remember who it was I heard it from. I'm subscribed to him, but he said the reason there's such a meanness and divide now compared to what there has been over the last 20 years is that the right is finally standing up for themselves, and the left don't know how to deal with it.
Yep, you are totally right. Donald Trump, he's so different. A lot of people on our side of the aisle, they don't like him. But you know what? A lot of things he's been doing, I've been advocating for years. I said, come on, guys. We gotta stop, being Mr. Nice Guy, and we gotta throw it back at him once in a while.
Yeah. That's why there's so much hatred from him now, because for the last 30 years, 40 years, they've been able to do and say and act any way they want, and they could throw down the race card, the woman card, the gender, the gay card, whatever card they had in their deck that they wanted to use. But the problem is it's not that message is no longer working. There's so many people, especially in the a lot of the minorities, especially the black conservatives are starting to show up. It's suddenly okay to be a conservative and still be black. You can't help being black, but there's nothing wrong with being conservative either. And they've made that choice. There's just everywhere you see. They're called walkaway stories, where people have walked away from the left.
I've seen those. Yep. We have a black conservative that's running against Diana DeGette in this next election cycle. She's the congresswoman from Denver, which is Congressional District 1. And I've known Casper for several years, and this will be like his third or fourth try, which I'll support him. He doesn't have a very good chance of winning, but you know what? If he keeps chipping away, someday maybe the people of Denver will say, these people that we've been voting for all these years, that's not working for us. So, who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out down the road.
Well, I was just looking at what Narrowboat Mom said. if they're not careful, things will be as bad as they are in the UK with regard to speech. Yeah, there's a gentleman who has been talking about in the UK about these group of Islamics that are going out and training their men to, rape women and kidnap them and all this stuff. And they got brought to trial, and he stood out there and spoke to the press about it. Those guys that it's taken like 3, 4, 6 weeks for this trial to even get going.
Right.
They had him arrested and convicted and in jail within 4 hours.
Wow.
Because he spoke against the Muslims.
Well, because Great Britain doesn't have a Bill of Rights like we have here in this country. They really don't have the kind of freedoms that we have. Even Canada doesn't have the same rights
Thank
we
you.
do.
Nature's Beauty, Tommy Robinson. Yes,
Okay.
That's his name, Tommy Robinson. You need to look up about that guy, because if anybody wants to find out what our life will become if we let the far left win,
right,
just follow Tommy. Just read about Tommy Robinson.
Another
because
one
that sends chills down your spines.
There's another one, Mark Stein. He's out of Canada, and he routinely talks about Islamic jihadists, and he's been in trouble so many times in Canada where he can't speak at college campuses. I mean, he's been invited, but once he gets there, they say, nope, this ain't happening.
Well, that's the problem. Our college campuses are the center of liberalism.
Yep, that's right.
They're the spearhead of the socialist movement.
Right.
And they've been that way since Timothy Leary,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but man, our generation has a crap load of stuff to answer for.
Yeah.
What we created out of the 70s is just, the 60s and the 70s is just atrocious, because these are our grandkids that are doing this crap now.
Now it's the hippies of the 60s that are running these colleges and universities. And
exactly.
And they're churning out these liberal-minded teachers that teach at our elementary schools and high schools. And drives me nuts.
Back when I was a kid, they still had prayer in school, but then they said we can't have it because of separation of church and state. But yet, in today's schools, they're teaching these kids about the fundamentals of Islam.
Right.
Where does separation of church and state come in there? Does it not apply?
Well, I think it's because Islam is also a form of government too. So
it's a theocracy. It's a theocracy.
Yeah.
Now, they're trying to teach inclusiveness, but what it really comes down to is it's just another form of socialism. I mean, it's a dictatorship. Come on, people. They need to wake up. But anyways, I digressed. Go ahead, Art, your show.
All right, let's move on to our next subject. We just had a brouhaha here in Aurora, Colorado at the ICE detention facility, where protesters came and they stormed the grounds and they tore down the American flag and put up a Mexican flag, and then they tore down the Blue Lives Matter flag and they defaced it and hung it upside down and put it back up. So where were the cops on that? These people should have been arrested as soon as they walked on. That's federal property right there.
Yeah. I don't know if you have seen it, but along that same line, some knotheads have decided to get together on Facebook. Somebody started as a joke, and now they've got, I don't know, 1.3 million people. And the reason I even got involved in some of this discussion had to do with drones. They're talking about thousands of droners going out and helping. It's these idiots wanting to storm Area 51. Well, first off, who cares? It's desert, you know? But why would they, you know? And the point is that's a U.S. Air Force installation. They storm that en masse. They may open the gates and let them in, and then shut the gates.
Yeah. And they might not
they won't
come
be
out
going anywhere.
Walk out.
Well, they'll come out in prison vans, headed right off to Gitmo.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and but I look at it this way: if we send them all to Gitmo, that's 1.3 million idiots that we've gotten out of our country. Let's deplete the gene pool there. Let's clear it out because it definitely needs to be cleaned. So I got involved in this with Drone Worship the other night because he was having a thing about it, asking the drone people to don't be idiots, because if you do this, it's going to come back on all drone enthusiasts.
That's right.
They won't sell them in the States anymore. That'll be it. They'll shut it down.
Yep.
Yep.
That's really sad.
Same thing with storming a federal. You're right. Where were the cops? Why weren't the
probably the powers that be told them to stand down. They didn't want to cause a scene and have a Kent State like event going. They wanted to avoid
Chris
something
Hope wants
like
if
that.
he could. Yeah, Chris Hope wants to know if he could post a quote there.
Sure, go ahead, Chris. No problem.
Uh-oh. You locked up on me. Am I locked up on you?
Oh yeah, you did freeze up. I didn't do anything.
Again?
Let me. Oops.
It's not you. Am I still with you?
All right, I'm back. You're not moving. You're just like freeze frame right there.
I can see that, and so are you.
I'm frozen too. Oh, there you go.
No,
I saw you moving.
You're fine.
There you go.
Are we moving again?
Yeah, you're moving.
What is it? I don't know if it's my internet company decides that every Sunday afternoon at 2:00 my time that they want to start.
Now you're Matt's headroom. You're like going 100 miles up. Like somebody cranked you up and you're going faster and faster. There, now you're, I don't know if you're frozen or you're looking at something. Looking at your monitor.
No, I was.
Now you're at normal speed now.
Yeah. I was stopping this thing down here. I think I'm going to just take it off.
Oh, okay. Because, that might be what's taking up
I don't
your
know what your
bandwidth
speeds
there.
are. Well, it's not mine. It's probably yours. But because I'm usually uploading at about 45. So
right.
But I don't know what your download and then back up to me is. So. All right, there we go. That's better. Everybody knows who I am anyway, so. Are we still good?
Yeah, we're good. I'm just reading what Chris just posted in the chat. Yeah, this is from Timothy King James Version 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. Okay.
They shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables.
Huh.
Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly it.
Yep.
That's it right there in a nutshell.
Yep, that is true.
Thank you, Chris, for putting that up there. Yeah.
Yep.
On this channel, or on this show, I don't think Art has a problem with stuff like that.
No. Nope. We're this is a conservative channel, and we could do a little bit of spiritual,
little soul searching,
revelation.
Well, a little soul searching doesn't hurt.
Soul searching
doesn't hurt
and
any of us.
Heal thy soul. That you are healed.
I used to do that.
Where's my jacket? Where I get swinging around and the guy goes, what?
Yeah. Some comedians. Was it Popoff? Was that his name? That guy did more damage to evangelists than anybody I ever know. I forgot what his name was.
Oh, Sam Kinison?
No, I'm talking about the TV minister. His last name was Popoff.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually acted that way, and he was he was a fraud, and unfortunately so many of them, I live in Oklahoma, of course, you can't spit without spitting on a church here in Oklahoma. We are the buckle of the Bible Belt, and they're usually Baptist or Pentecostal.
Right.
Anything else are heathens.
Mm-hmm.
So, those darn papist and them German churches, and but give me a good old Baptist or Pentecostal holiness church, and we're all ready to go to heaven. So but I'm not making fun of any religion, but some of those TV ministers really did. I'm ordained, and have been for. God,
well, you knew Moses.
50 years.
You probably grew up with
pretty
Moses.
much. Yeah, close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You probably.
My brother knew Methuselah.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I only knew Moses. Yeah, he's older than me, and my sister. Now she's a friend of Eve.
Oh, okay.
But, they're older than I am by a little bit.
Well, you know what happened when Moses came off the mount, and he said, I have some good news and I have some bad news. Good news is I got him down to 10 commandments. Bad news is adultery stays. That's about the only Bible joke I know.
Yeah. Narrowboat Mom says UK churches are mainly left-wing liberals. Yeah, the Church of England has become very what we call here the Episcopal Church. Mm-hmm. They've become very, and so has the Methodist, and even the Lutherans have become. Oh yeah, have become pretty liberal, Yep. And
well, look at the Pope.
The Catholics,
right
now the Pope.
He's probably the furthest left Pope I've ever known. I mean, the guy is anti-capitalist. He's borderline
John Paul
socialist.
II is rolling over. Yeah, John Paul II is rolling over in his grave because he fought socialism and communism, and he literally helped free Poland. He's responsible for the freedom of Poland and part of the downfall of the Soviet Union because of that. Mm-hmm. And now we've got this leftist Pope that I'm just so disappointed in.
Yeah, I know.
Ratzinger should have never stepped down.
He's the Jimmy Carter of popes.
Yeah.
Now Jimmy Carter was just more naive than he was an actual indoctrinator leftist.
Well, I've got a peanut farm. I can't do impersonation of Jimmy Carter, but you know, I served under him as he was my commander in chief, and that was
right.
That was the point. Had the Soviet Union been paying attention in 1977, they could have defeated our military.
Yeah,
because we had no money. We were working on some of the newest aircraft. Well, the A-10 was the newest aircraft,
right?
And we had a part go out on one. I had to go out to the boneyard and get a part out of a B-24 from World War II to put in to make this thing flyable.
Well, I know Jimmy Carter, he canceled the B-1 program.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then when Ronald Reagan came in, he reinstated that, and the B-1 program, it changed from being a high-altitude supersonic bomber to be, a subsonic, low-altitude bomber, and it turned out to be a wonderful platform.
Yeah. But under Jimmy Carter, it was the budget of 77 was the biggest. We at one point could not, in the whole United States Air Force, generate one full fighter-ready squadron.
Wow.
Anywhere in the U.S. Air Force.
Right.
Air Force, because we didn't have the parts, we didn't have the budget, we had them breaking down. We didn't have the fuel, or we didn't have pilots who could qualify because of the fact they couldn't get the fuel to fly, so they were being grounded until they could get the fuel to fly to get their hours up so they could go back on active duty.
Right.
So it was a joke, and yeah. Anyways, we've digressed again. Sorry.
Well, that reminded me of when we tried to rescue the hostages, and where everything just went kablooey out in the desert in Iran. Yeah. That was lack of good intel. Right. That was lack of preparedness. That was lack of not understanding the situation on the ground, or it just, and lack of training. Right. I mean, and they hadn't even made it to their target destination. That was their jump off point. And if they couldn't make it past the jump off point, how are they going to make it to their destination point? Right. Of course, that did create a lot of new training programs, which is why they were SEAL Team 6 was able to go in and get bin Laden, because the type of training that was needed, what had happened by that time is they had units that could do that kind of work, but they disbanded them, and what they had there was not the qualified type. They didn't bring those units back online until about 1982. And they started reintegrating those type of units again, and now they're called the TAC-P, which is Tactical Air Command. I forgot. Tactical Assault Command Program, I think, is what it stands for. And they're a combination of their Air Force, their forward observers, their what I used to be, which was called a ROMAD, which is Remote Radio Operator Maintenance and Driver. Right. And I was a forward air controller, which you were assigned to an Army unit, usually an airborne, so that you could help control airstrikes. Right. And I was part of the training program. That's what we did, was for situations like that. But when I got out, that was the end of the program. I was the last of that group to get out. And
they disbanded the unit because it was experimental at best at the time, and it had been going on since the Vietnam War, and so they were Jimmy Carter was trying to phase out everybody that was any of those units left over from the Vietnam War.
Right.
You know, like the 173rd Airborne Brigade, which was the first ones in to Vietnam, and because they were a complete cohesive unit that could, they were a rapid strike force, is what we call them now. But yeah, so they were totally unprepared for that under Jimmy Carter. He just really screwed it, and that's why it took so long for Clinton to build. Clinton.
Ronald Reagan.
Good God. Yeah, thank you. Jeez, I just insulted that man. He's gonna come back and haunt me tonight. I just called Ronald Reagan Bill Clinton. What was I thinking? Oh,
yeah. What
God.
were you thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, senility setting in early, folks.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm probably lacking on a little sleep.
Yeah.
Because I sat up rather late working on some stuff, and then Judy woke up early, and then just as I was going to sleep, Mel called, and he had something he wanted to show me, which was very exciting, and it's very good for our shows.
Oh, good.
And I need to get up anyways, so I'm running about half speed.
Yeah, I've been up early too as well. I don't know if you caught my sunrise video this morning. I finally got it to where, okay, now I know how to use the app, and everything just was a piece of cake. So, got a really nice sunrise. All right, so let's move along to our next subject about social media and censorship. One of the conservative sites, I don't know if you follow Dennis Prager.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
he's got a thing on YouTube called PragerU, which is really popular. They got something like 3 million subscribers. And then one day they noticed that nobody is watching their videos. They went over and they checked their analytics, and it said 0 watch time. And they're like, oh, well, what's going on? And then it turns out that there's an automatic algorithm, and there's actually some people that watch some of the videos, and somebody complained and said, I don't like that topic, or I don't like this, and that's what set the red flag. And you got some liberal, like what you say, knothead kid working at Google saying, yeah, that's probably not what I like, so boom, we'll red flag that video. And that's why we have this channel. So hopefully I'm flying under the radar and getting the word out.
Yeah, like she says, they do it all the time. Nature's Beauty says that. And here's the thing. What we need as conservatives to start doing is going to every single liberal site and filing a complaint.
Yep.
I mean, let's just reverse it. Let's just throw it back at them. Just keep filing, and get your friends to file. If your friends don't have a YouTube channel, but they have a YouTube account, and they think like you, have them go in there. Let's go after the big ones. Let's start playing their game. Let's start getting them red flagged. Let's see how they like it. I mean, that's the way to deal with this.
Yep.
It may take a while, but
it's not only conservative sites, but it's also history sites that are being hit too. So, like
exactly.
Case in point, there is a channel that I just started following a couple weeks ago called World War II day by day. And it gives you, each week
Right.
they come out with a video and they talk about what happened that week during the war. And right now I pretty much caught up. So now it's July 1940, and they're
Okay.
being
Yeah.
demonetized, and that's why they use Patreon to help support their channel.
Yeah.
And which is good. It helps them out, and they've got a really good staff. And you ought to check them out. If you like World War II history, check these guys out. I'm learning more stuff from their channel because they break it down. They talk about the economics, what was going on in Germany during the war, and how their economy was slave labor based. When they conquered Poland and all those other countries, that's how they got the labor to keep their war production going.
Yeah. And, it's a good example of that. Okay, these knobheads that call themselves Antifa, anti-fascists, they don't know what fascism is.
Yeah,
but let me tell you something. As soon as those socialists win, because Antifa has caused so much problems that they're going to, if the left should win, guess who the first people they're going to enslave?
Yeah.
Those idiots. Because they don't want these protesters out there causing them problems too.
Right.
So they'll go after Antifa right off the bat. They'll ignore people like you and me. We're old farts. We're harmless in their eyes. But the first people they're going to go after, this is a serious situation. If we're doomed to repeat our mistakes if we don't learn our history. And,
I saw something the other day where somebody brought up a point to a liberal about history, and they said, "Oh, well, I'm not interested in history." Well, that's because the reason they're not interested in it is because historically it shows how socialist and communist states eventually crumble on itself. So they just they want to ignore history, and that's why they're repeating the same mistakes that were done by the previous socialist state.
Right. Yeah. Well, Nerabo Mom says they had a lot of candidates. Hang on a second. I'm having problems reading this, and now I know why. I keep having to lean out a camera shot. It's because I don't have my pop-up chat where I can see it.
Right.
There we go. Anyways, she said we had a lot of candidates from some of the elections taken off social media. It's real election meddling. If Trump doesn't get this sorted, he may have the same with next election. Yeah, and that's the problem. People like Zuckerberg and whoever owns Google.
Right.
That's something. Who does own Google and YouTube?
Well, I know YouTube is owned by a separate conglomerate. Okay, I'll type it up. Who owns?
Because that's something you never hear about, is who owns those. We hear about Zuckerberg all the time, but we never hear. I'd like to know who controls Google and YouTube, because Google and YouTube are part of the same corporation.
Okay,
or they were.
Its own is a subsidiary of Alphabet Inc., and co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin are still the two largest shareholders, followed by Eric Schmidt, who is CEO of Google from 2001 to 2011. Huh.
Yeah, I knew that YouTube and Google were part of the same conglomerate.
All right, I know. Okay, look.
Or they were. I can't remember who bought out who.
All right, YouTube is an American video sharing website. 3 former PayPal employees, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, created the service in 2005. YouTube now operates as one of Google's subsidiaries. Ah, okay,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, and the original founders, and that's what happened to YouTube, and why it started getting the way it is because they sold out. The 3 original founders sold out their shares or a percentage of their shares to Google. You know, they got their money and ran. You know.
Yep. And
now Google, who is owned by a conglomerate, ABC, really?
Alphabet.
That's the best they could do?
Yep.
Alphabet. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it might as well be ABC.
Yeah, just like the cereal.
Alphabet, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it still doesn't tell you, because unlike Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and stuff, these guys, they stay quietly in the background, keep their mouths shut. They just do all of their influencing by changing the rules. And I mean, at least when something happens on Facebook, you know, you can go out and say nasty things about Mark Zuckerberg, you know, Zuckerberg. And yeah, thank you. I'm hearing myself in my headsets, and it's my own fault, but I have to do that sometimes to make sure my voice is the right, you know.
Right.
I listen to myself. So, but sometimes I annoy myself. Because, see, it's in this ear, but then I have the other voice that talks in my head. Yeah, well, no, the other voice that talks in my head is in this one. Sometimes they get to arguing in between, and I get confused.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I know what you're talking about. I have it where I can hear myself also for the same reason, to make sure that my audio is working. So
yeah, that's what Greg was saying at Oz by Drone. He says you don't want to listen to yourself in your headsets because it'll drive you nuts.
Right.
And I said, that explains so much. I said, that's why I'm nuts. And it was his guest. It was his guest that he had on Friday. He says, well, from what Greg said, you didn't have far to drive. We just met 5 minutes before, and he'd already pegged me. Because he'd been listening to me and Greg go at each other, you know. He says, well, from what Greg told me, you don't have that far to drive. It's like, okay.
All right, here's kind of a subject I don't have written down. We had here in Denver the Western Conservative Summit, which is I think 10 years old now. Now I've gone to several of them back in the beginning, but it just got too expensive for me to go, and so I stopped going. What was different this year is our Democrat governor got to be one of the speakers this year, because Western Conservative Summit is a 501c3, which means they have to be nonpartisan. So every year they invite Democrats to come, and they usually don't show up. So this is the first time that a Democrat has spoken at the Western Conservative Summit. I've been watching a lot of my conservative friends. Some of them are like, oh, this is a travesty. This is, you know, it says Western Conservative Summit, and and somebody explained to them why they had to do that because of, you know, the way it's set up. And then there are other. It was just interesting to watch the battle going back and forth.
I mean, you can see their point to an extent, but hey, give the guy credit for he showed up, man. He walked in. That was Daniel walking into the lion's den. You got to, you know, at least he had the cojones to do it, you know.
Well, what killed me
they
was...
They could have... Go ahead.
What really got me was, and I listened to a little snippet of his speech where he said that we need to work together. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, right. That worked out really well in the last session where the Democrats just ignored all the input from the Republicans during that session. Yeah, we need to work together. Yeah. There was very little, if any, bipartisanship going on that last session.
Well, here's the funny thing about bipartisanship. It's only considered bipartisanship when we're involved. In other words, as conservatives, we seem to always have it, and the liberals seem to always bitch about wanting it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
we always reach across the aisle and end up getting screwed by the deal. Mm-hmm. They end up saying, yeah, and we still get screwed by the deal. So maybe we had to start practicing the Democrats' version of bipartisanship. You know?
Yep.
Because it's obviously not working the way we've been doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and I think it goes all the way back to education, to where, well, now it's gotten to a point where people on the left think, well, I don't want to work with these people. You know, these people are either stupid or they're racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever. And so when they're in power, they don't want to work with Republicans. They figure, we got the majority. We'll just ram everything through and screw you. We got a Democrat governor. He's going to sign it anyway. So
I did see, and I can't remember who wrote it up, and maybe was it on this show last week, or was it somewhere else I was on, one of the shows I was on? Somebody wrote it, and I was really concerned about where they were going with it, but they said that AOC is a Republican plant.
Oh, yeah.
That was last week on this show, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, and let her keep talking. The more she talks, the old dog, Blue
Dog Democrats,
the old guard Democrats.
Yeah,
the Blue Dog Democrats, the old guard. They're going to say, no, we've had enough of this kind of silliness. All right, you had your chance. Put your big girl panties on and get out of here. You know, pick up your ball and go play with somebody else. You know, because they said in the beginning of this campaign that the only person that even had a chance against Trump was Biden, and God help us if he does win, if he should win. But guess what? He's the only one that so far he's pulled out. There's one state poll, he's 35% ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
He's got 35% of the total over everybody else who's, they're splitting it up through the other 19 people. Well, 18 now, besides him. But still, her message is not, and those people like her, it's not ringing through.
Mm-hmm.
And, here's a fact. Talk about social media. Okay, I talked about the deplorable choir.
Right.
Who is the black lady that's running for the Democratic nomination? What's that? She was in the debate, and she's the only black woman of the 20. Okay,
Right.
and she said she was so proud to be in the second desegregated or integrated class of Kamala.
Yeah.
She said in the debate she was in the second desegregated class of Bethany, whatever name of her school was, or Bethel School.
Right.
Well, that school was actually desegregated in 1962. She wasn't even born until 63. Okay? And she started her grade school years in Canada, where her mother took her to start school at because she didn't like the American schools.
Right. Wow.
So she couldn't have been in that second class. She
Right.
wasn't even born yet. So there you go. Yeah. And it was the deplorable choir that actually pointed that out.
Right.
And I think that's who it was. And it's like, man, these people on the left, they better watch who they got up there because, they're as bad as Slick Willie was. Well, see if they can get in.
And Biden's no
Go
better.
ahead.
I mean, he's the plagiarizer. And if he wins the nomination, I think Trump's going to light him up. He's going to say, all right, you want to bring up your boss's record? Yeah, let's take a look at that record. And then he's just going to eat him up with the facts. And he's going to, Biden's going to say, we were the scandal-free administration. And Trump is going to just, you say you're scandal-free. Okay, let's look at the map here. Let's look up here on this
Let's
list here.
start
And
out
he's
with
gonna
Fast
go
and Furious.
one by one, Fast and Furious, IRS, a whole bunch of...
there's
Benghazi.
Benghazi. Yeah, that's one I was looking for. Benghazi. It's just not even, I mean, do they really want a president that when they were signing that one bill, he's standing there not knowing his mic is hot, he says, this is really a big effing deal?
Yeah.
And it goes, at least with Trump, he's not trying to hide it. He says what he thinks,
Yeah.
And this is the problem. The left does not know how to deal with the right now. And that's why these confrontations are getting so angry, because they're so frustrated because for 40 years, at least 40 years, they've been able to walk around, probably longer, ever since Richard Nixon had to resign. They've been able to walk around and do and say what they wanted, and we were like, we're sorry, we elected Nixon. If he, it wouldn't have been bad if he just remembered to erase all those tapes instead of just 8 minutes.
Right.
That was his mistake.
Well, I've got a different
I can't
take
speak too
on
harshly
that.
about him. I'm related to him.
My deal
he's one
was,
of my relations.
Nixon could have just stopped the whole thing from the beginning, because a lot of this was done without his knowledge. As soon as he heard about it, he should have said, you know what, you're done. I am not going to take responsibility for it. And he should have just said, hey, something bad happened on my watch. And instead, he covered it up, and he just made it worse by doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he made some stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you call it fortunate or unfortunate, but it seems like all the presidents since then have learned to cover up better. I mean, he didn't do anything different than dozens before him.
Right.
I mean, they tried to impeach Ulysses S. Grant because he was drunk in office all the time.
Right.
John Kennedy, yes, he did have Marilyn Monroe in the White House more than once. You know,
Right.
Sorry, Dims, but he was a Randy Booger. You know.
Well, I'll have to correct you on. Well, no, you're right on Ulysses S. Grant, but Johnson was impeached, but he wasn't convicted.
Yeah, Andrew Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I seem to be froze up again.
Yeah.
Or you are. One of us is. Oh, you're back to moving.
I'm back to moving.
Did I move?
Yay, that's good.
One of us is, yeah. Eventually I'll catch up.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. When you do, you'll be like really fast, like a little squirrel.
Yeah.
Running across the road.
As long as you can hear me, you know.
Yep.
That's all that counts.
Ya.
Okay. You know.
All right, so let's see. It looks like we've done an hour, Lloyd. So.
Oh wow.
So why don't we shut her down here and call it a day?
Oh, hang on. There we go.
So,
okay. Yeah, we've done a good hour, and it was a good show.
Yep.
How
we
close did we get to
ground.
finishing your list? Did we finish your list today?
Yes, we did, and we even added a few things. And now you're going 100 miles an hour.
I am. Yeah. And
release the hounds. Okay.
Yeah, it's my housekeepers. They showed up just on time. So. Okay.
All right. Well, I
this was a
will
good
see
show.
you later on Mel's show tonight. So I will check in there.
7:45.
Yep. All right.
So
you have a great day. I've got some pot roast cooking, so I will catch you later. So thank you for stopping by. And go ahead, yell at those dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to run to the front door, so
all right.
I'll catch you later.
All right. Take care, Lloyd. Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll see you next week with more great topics on the conservative side. You all have a great Sunday. So God bless you guys. See ya. Bye.